What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a very special edition of Niko Knows Best. I'm your host, Niko Exxtra. Joining me as always, Cool Mike C and Jedi J. But today is a very special day because we have the AEW Women's World Champion, Mariah May, joining us. Mariah, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It's a special day. We've been practicing and training all week to get this interview right. I got to go right into it about AEW Worlds End, December 28th. Thunder Rosa is going to be the opponent. How do you leave Worlds End the champion still? You've been having some challenges with her. She was at Dynamite, getting underneath your skin.
Was she underneath my skin?
I
don't know that she was.
She was attempting to get underneath your skin.
I honestly didn't notice her. I know she tried really hard to be noticed. She made her little Mariah May signs in the crowd and wanted to be cool and funny, and guess what? She failed as always, and I didn't even know she was there.
So she's going to obviously be coming for the title. How do you ensure that you walk out the AEW Women's World Champion?
The same way I have my entire reign. What am I on? 6 or 7 successful defenses so far? I'm the most dominant champion in AEW. Look what I did to Toni Storm. Toni Storm was the face of our division. She would honestly be the face of the company if it wasn't for me and what I did to her. I destroyed her. So I'm not worried. And also Orlando is kind of my hometown.
Absolutely.
So I have a little advantage.
Talking about Toni Storm for a second, what the heck happened with you two? You were great. You were her protege. You were, wrestling together. Then obviously the Owen Foundation happened. You did your thing. At what point in time did you decide that you were not a Toni Storm fan?
I've always been a Toni Storm fan. That's why I chose her to follow her and to learn everything from her and to steal her life. But I always knew coming into AEW what the goal was. In my rookie year, I wanted to be the world champion at the top of the division because I believe my training and what I bring to the table, the way I look, the way I act, the way I talk, I deserve to be the top of that division. So I always knew coming in I was going to use Toni Storm. I was going to learn everything from her, use her platform. She's, one of the most popular and beloved people in AEW. She gave me absolutely everything. And on the biggest stage we have at All In, I took it from her.
Absolutely.
Well, they do say payback is a bitch. And I feel like you kind of stepped over your friend and friends, plural, because you've fought in, 2 friends now?
Mina.
Do you think that...
Toni Storm was never my friend.
Oh, she wasn't your friend?
No.
You were just
a stepping stone.
Yeah.
You admired her, but at the end of the day,
Listen, from a professional perspective, yeah, I think the things she's accomplished in wrestling are amazing. She's British like me, and her journey was very successful. I mean, I did it quicker than she did, but she was never my friend, ever.
And down the road, with that being said, she was never your friend. Do you think that this is going to hurt you long term? Working with Toni Storm and working with Mina, was it?
Mina Shirakawa.
Yeah, working with both of them. Do you think that this is going to affect you long term? Stepping over not your friends and your friend?
I think it has affected me. It's been, really difficult being, the world champion and the top merch seller and the top of the division and doing all the media because this face sells tickets. So yeah, I think it's going to affect me. Yeah.
So you don't care about your relationship with them, you're trying to say, or what?
I have no relationship with Toni Storm.
Okay.
Mina, I love. We're still friends. I love Mina. I gave her a chance. She couldn't get the job done, which, I'm not surprised. Like I said, I'm the most dominant champion there is, but Toni is not my friend. She's never been my friend, and she never will be my friend.
Now, Glamour doesn't need friends. She's the star. She's got strong shoulders to carry AEW. The champ needs to look like the champ. The champ needs to carry things. And when you're the champ, everybody's coming at you. You don't have time for friends at the top.
Yeah, please. You are my personal advocate. Keep his mic on.
They call him Cool Mike C for a reason. Right. The guy's obviously cool. The Owen Hart tournament, that was a pivotal moment in your career, not only because you made your statement by turning on Toni Storm, but actually winning the tournament. What did it mean for you to have all those grueling matches and come out on top in the Owen Hart Foundation?
Nothing. I just needed to win that to take down Toni Storm on the biggest stage, and that was never my plan. when I came to AEW, like I said, I was just following Toni. I was just having fun, and I was like, it would be really fun to take everything from her. But when she became the world champion, and then she entered me herself into this Owen Hart tournament, I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I go all the way? And I did have very tough competitors. I had
Absolutely.
Saraya,
Yeah.
who's one of our biggest stars. I had Sheeta,
Yeah.
who's a 3-time world champion. I had Willow, who is, one of the faces
Yeah.
of the company. And I did have a very tough run, but it was just so perfect to win that, and she didn't see it coming. I don't think anybody saw it coming, but I knew this whole time I was going to do it, and it was honestly pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
I've been watching wrestling for my whole life, and I'm older than you. Let's just put it that way. I didn't want it to happen, but I almost felt like it was inevitable that that's what needed to happen for you to take it to the next level, to get your match at Wembley and to get the goals you wanted to accomplish. So sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get to the finish line.
Yes.
Cool, Mike C?
I mean, look at Wembley. Let's not just gloss over that.
Yeah.
You have tens of thousands of people at Wembley. You talk about the pressure being on.
In her
That was
hometown.
in your hometown, and then Toni from Australia. Everybody wanted to see it. Everybody was talking about it. After the high heel to the head and the Toni being the face of the company, and it was a bloody face until you took over. That was tremendous. What was it like to be you've never been in front of a crowd like that before.
Yeah.
What was it like to perform at home in front of a crowd
So
that
I never
huge?
actually had a pay-per-view match before,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
obviously, like I said, I always knew, I know it's my rookie year, but I always knew I could run this division and be the face.
Right.
And so for me, it was my first pay-per-view. It was also my first time wrestling in the UK for years, I think, because I lived in Japan and wrestled there, and I've been in America and
Stardom.
Canada.
Yeah.
So it was kind of my return, and my whole family was there. So the only time they ever saw me wrestle was my debut, which was, I think, like 80 people in a school gym.
Oh, wow.
So, it was a pretty cool come up to be like, look, I did it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think there was definitely pressure, and I think there was pressure too because I knew how much people cared about this story and this match, and I think I'm never one to say, women should get more time because we're women. I don't believe that. I think if you are the best match on the card, you're the most entertaining feud. We were getting millions of views online.
Everybody wanted to see it.
Everybody did. I was like, I want to prove that we are the most entertaining characters, and this was the feud that everybody cared about on such a strong card where we had, Bryan Danielson might have retired. We had Mercedes Mone, who's a huge star that just joined us. We had all these other factors, and I wanted to prove that people underestimate us, Toni and I, but we were going to deliver the best. And I think we created cinema is what I always say, and I think there was definitely pressure, but diamonds are made under pressure.
That's right.
Were you nervous?
When I got there, I was definitely nervous,
Yeah.
and I just made sure to stand out there and take it in. And somebody said to me, "You're only going to experience this once for the first time.
Right.
You might, only wrestle here once, or we might wrestle here 5 times, but there's only going to be one first Wembley, one first time if you win this match, one first time to culminate this feud like this. So just, I know you're scared, but please take in that moment." And the minute I stepped out, it just went. It's so strange. I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to be here." So yeah.
It was kind of a special moment for sure. I enjoyed it.
Quick question. Originally, you were a ring announcer and then turned into in-ring talent. Take us through the process of that, and was that the original plan?
No, so I was actually training to be a wrestler, and I got asked if I would like to ring announce. And in wrestling, you just take every shot you can just to get yourself out there, and it's a good chance to be in front of the crowd. I hated it, to be honest. It was so difficult to remember. There's no fun and freedom in it. I feel like you have to remember everybody's exact details. But it was a good experience for me. I think I maybe did it 4 or 5 times, and it was a good chance just to get in front of the crowd. But I would sit there and be like, I'd rather wrestle. But it was when I was training and I hadn't even had a match yet.
So even when you did it, you were like, this is not for me.
No, I mean, I was obviously good at it because
of course.
I'm pretty good at everything. But yeah, I love being creative and telling stories, and you're not telling stories, you're just kind of delivering facts, and you can have fun with it, but way too limited for what I like to do.
Absolutely.
Well, when you look at it, I mean, that you are an entertainer, obviously. People stop, they want to see you, they watch the match. I mean, when we're watching, if anyone's changing the channel on AEW and they come by and they go, whoa, I'm not even a wrestling fan, they're going to watch you.
So the main event.
The main event. And it's like, when at some point in time, because Toni's very flexible as far as allowing talent to pursue other things, what does your progression look like clearly modeling, movies, all kinds of things. Where is that going to fit within the wrestling scheme of things?
I mean, for me right now, no pun intended, I'm all in with AEW.
Right.
They gave me my life here in America, and that
Mhm.
was always my dream as a kid. I knew I wanted to, be an entertainer. I wanted to be a wrestler, which kind of felt impossible, but clearly it's not. But it was always my dream to come here, and they've given me that. And on my rookie year, to kind of give me the opportunities and the platform they have. And yes, I've delivered, but they've also given me that chance. I'm very committed to AEW and committed to kind of making a legacy. And for me, it was tough. I did kind of have this crisis where I'm like, okay, on my first year in the company, I won the world title in my home on our biggest show. So now where do I go?
Where do you go to top that?
Yeah, but I think the exciting thing is we forget, but AEW is a baby. It's such a new company. And I think because it's so big, we forget that like this wasn't here 5 years ago.
Right.
So I think because when we have these anniversary shows, I'm like, oh, like, wait, it's only been around for 5 years. Like, it's just crazy. So for me, I think it's exciting because we're going to have so many firsts and we're going to create history, and to be a part of that legacy and that growth, that's something that I'm kind of looking to spend the next couple of years doing. I've never been TBS champion, and we have Mercedes prancing around with all these belts. So I think there's a lot of story there. And I think every single new girl that comes through that door, there's stories to tell. And I'm excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You bring up Mercedes. She was talking a little smack about you on the internet recently. You're the world champion. She's the TBS champion. Obviously, there's levels to this stuff. You're at the top of the game. She wants to be where you're at. Are you cordial? Are you friendly? What's your take on Mercedes Mone?
I mean, I wouldn't say we're anything. We don't share a locker room.
You don't see her at all.
She tried to talk smack and say she wants me to be a money shop girl. But you know what? I will, because she needs the help. Because guess what? I'm a top merch seller. She's not. We released some all-in plaques from all of our matches. Mine sold out in 5 minutes, and last time I checked, hers is still sitting there. So clearly people want to forget about that match, and I don't blame them. But keep talking smack. I'm the world champ. You know where I'm at.
Do you think that her title reign is shadowing you?
I think she's been given a lot more than me. I would love to have more time and more opportunity, but I think that I've always been underestimated. In 1 minute, I can make you remember me. In 1 minute, I can get 1 million impressions. So that's fine. Stack the deck against me. I always shine.
That's a really accurate statement, because I'd seen you as Tony's understudy, and I was like, oh, let's check this out. And I said, like, holy shit, she actually does Toni Storm better than Toni Storm. Like, you literally did. You're a better wrestler. Like, you look better. So for me, it was that's where I noticed that there was a lot of potential for you. And for the longest time, Toni has been kind of carrying the storyline, and now you've taken over, and there's a whole women's division storyline that's really kind of exciting right now. Do you feel that it's like taking place in real time?
Yeah, 100%. I think we have a very strong division that runs through all the way to Ring of Honor. We have Athena, who's been world champ there for like years or so long.
Yeah, she's awesome.
But as much as I like to talk a bad game about Mercedes, she is a huge superstar, and she's come into our division. She makes people talk a lot, which is what we need. And with her bringing in a spotlight for herself, she gives all of us one. So I think that is very exciting, and I would love to face her. I think Toni Storm, even though she's completely lost her mind, is such a huge star in her own right. It's almost like fun to watch. I always say she's the dog with 3 legs. Like, just kind of, you watch her, you feel sorry for her, but you want to see her like try to climb the stairs kind of thing. But we have such a strong division with Willow and Chris Statlander, and we have up and comers like Harley Cameron, who's so entertaining. Just, I think there's something in the water in Australia where they all have like one brain cell, but we have a lot of really exciting people. And for me as world champ, I've been asking for that competition. So I want these women to step up. I want them to try and step against me in promos and step against me in the ring. I want us to get more time on a pay-per-view. I want this title to be on every single pay-per-view. I want to get 15 minutes. That's definitely my goal. And I think our division is bursting with talent. So it's just about over this next year kind of pushing that through and being a bigger part of the shows.
Yeah, and I was going to say, speaking of Mercedes, she's been in Japan, you've been in Japan, and I think that's what people forget is you really are tougher wrestlers, where if you need to do, strong style and you need to do things, you could do it.
Yes.
I think that would be an ideal match.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, 2025 is coming up. I go, where would a stage be big enough?
I mean,
to have the glamour and the CEO. That would be
all in as big as it
huge
goes.
show. It's like that's got to be a huge match. For
and I
2025.
think so. The thing with Mercedes is she's very versatile because she trained in Mexico and Japan. She's obviously been a world champ. She's been wrestling for a long time. I lived in Japan, so I stayed
Yes.
there for a year and trained
Yes.
in the dojo. So our journeys are slightly different, but like you said, I think the styles are pretty compatible. And
Yeah.
I'm very curious about it because I kind of grew up watching her.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
I'd be to step in the ring with her, that would be pretty full circle, and to destroy her the same way I did Toni Storm. Well,
There's another
there's
one.
the legacy.
I forget
That's
you're
right.
26 years old because you
Yes.
carry yourself so well and you're the champion. So
She's the new legend killer.
speaking of,
I
I like it. ESPN top 30 under 30, a huge accomplishment.
Yes.
I mean, MJF, Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm, yourself, and Dirty Dominic Mysterio, of course. How does that make you feel that you're in the 30 under 30, that you're top 5 in the top 5? Were you excited about this? Were you like, whatever, I should be number 1? How did you feel about this? Because in my opinion, that's a really huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, it's ESPN, so it's very cool.
Right.
It's always cool when it kind of extends out of the wrestling
Right,
bubble. Because
crossover.
wrestling is huge, but it's like when it kind of goes mainstream and goes that step further,
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a pinch me. And
Mhm.
even Wembley Stadium, so
Right.
I had been to Wembley to watch soccer games.
Right.
That's the only time I went, and it's huge, stadium.
See Beckham.
It's, yeah. And so to like be there, yes, for wrestling, but hey, I'm a part of a Wembley arena
Right.
show, like stadium show, like this is crazy.
Part of history.
So like it's little things, huge things like that, where
Yeah.
you kind of do pinch yourself and you're like, wow, this is huge and this is, bigger than wrestling in a way. Of course I want to be number 1. I always want to be the best, but it's something to chase. Like I said, I became world champ and I'm like, what's next? Like what can I chase after and who can I take down to get there? So yeah, it was definitely very cool, and I'm just kind of looking to see how I could get to number 1, but I always do forget if I'm ever hard on myself. I kind of forget I'm 26 because I think we all have this thing where we feel like we're old when we're not.
Mhm.
And it's just like, I'm like, I'm not doing enough. I haven't done enough. And then kind of seeing that and reflecting on the past couple of years, I'm like, all right.
You have a whole career
you-
ahead of you.
you-
so,
We know all
you
about
know.
feeling old.
You've done a lot within 10 months. What would you say are some of your attributions towards your like popularity and success in AEW?
I think with the AEW fan base, because, they love wrestling, and AEW, we say it's where the best wrestlers, so they're very heavy on that. I
Right.
think me coming from Stardom and training like that style and improving my in-ring work so much probably helped with them in terms of getting over. And I think, we talked about Mina earlier, but I actually teamed with her in Japan, and she's
Yeah.
so charismatic. She's fantastic at what she does.
It's a good
and-
match Wednesday.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
and,
it was.
we all saw the outcome, but
Of course.
I think
The
for
outcome's
me,
always the same.
for me, just tagging with her and learning from her for a whole year, and also just being in Japan, I can't speak Japanese, so I couldn't do promos to make fans and get
Right.
popular.
Oh, right.
I had to use my facial expressions. I had to get better in the ring. I had to learn all those other little things. So I think that kind of helps, is like just the entertainment side of it, and like the way that I came in with Toni Storm and being mini Tony, because it was so silly. Like, I think we forget wrestling is supposed to be fun, and
It
I know
is.
it can be, very serious and gory, and I've been responsible for parts of that, but it's supposed to be fun. And I think what Tony and I did was so fun and silly, and you could tell we were having so much fun. So I think that's kind of why people liked it, because it's nice to watch. We're supposed to
was.
have fun with it. Yeah.
It is.
It's really a great
Entertainment.
storyline, and I mean,
Right.
I think it's captivated a lot of people, even the casuals who might not be watching AEW or tuning in to go, "What's going on here? Who is this champion? Why is she hitting people over the head with shoes?" And
Yeah, even
Beating up all her
the
best
heel
friends.
turn was so like
That was so
symbolic,
big.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I'll always love that memory. I'm sure she probably has no memory of it, but
No.
yeah, I mean, you've definitely. She just announced she's all elite this past week.
yeah, congratulations, welcome to the roster.
You've,
You have a great time,
I was going to ask you about Sexy Dynamite Princess.
please.
I had to do my research with you. Where did this come from? Whose idea was this? When was this? When did you decide that you were not going to be Sexy Dynamite Princess and you were going to be Mariah May?
I'm gonna give you just one response. It was not my idea. I did not want to do it. I kind of had to, and I'm glad it's over.
I don't know. I think you're still Sexy Dynamite Princess. to
Hey,
be
I like
honest.
the name. The whole thing was just
Too much.
mortifying.
I mean,
Just
you with a mask
horrible.
coming out and Sexy Dynamite Princess beats up someone. That's
Yeah, I mean, Mina and I try to have fun with it, and you're not always, wrestling's one of those things. Sometimes you just have to do your job. It's not particularly what I wanted to do. I didn't think it was very, I think we could do a lot better than that for women, but that's what I had to do. So I just try to make
But you
it.
take it to the extreme. Like when
fun.
Austin Aries came up and he said the greatest man that ever lived.
Yeah.
And, when they'd ask him and he goes, this is wrestling. You bring things to the extreme, so it's good to do that. So I think that was a cool name, but it's not a career.
She's gone. She's unmasked. She's dead. She died. She'll never come back.
So speaking of that, with the rapid success, where do you see your character going?
Like I said, I'm trying to create a legacy, and I'm pretty much running through that division, and I'm always looking for more competition. I'm excited for Thunder Rosa at World's End. I don't know how she's managed to get this. I don't know how she earned this match, but if she wants it, like I said,
she earned a beating.
Well, yeah,
she's talking to you, asking for it, then you're going to get it. Let's talk about that match. How we know that not only can you wrestle, not only do you look gorgeous as the glamour, but you can get physical. How physical is this match going to be? What is it
Tijuana
called?
Street
Tijuana Street Fight.
Fight.
What are some things that we can expect? Don't give away.
We're going to be there in person too. So we're going to be there.
What is a Tijuana Street Fight?
You tell me, because I said name the time, name the place.
I'll be there.
So do you know? You don't know what you're getting yourself into?
Not really, but all I know is Thunder Rosa is pretty hard to kill. So I'm gonna bring a lot in my arsenal. I've been trying to research this. I've been watching some tapes, trying to figure out how to best approach this match. I have had a street fight before in AEW. I beat Anna Jay on Collision in the main event. And then prior to that, I think my only street fight was it was cool. It was a Dreamhouse death match, which was a Barbie street fight. And the rule was the weapon had to be pink. And if it wasn't pink, you can't use it. So I have a little experience. She's a lot more experience, which I guess is why she chose this, because she's probably been watching me very closely and realizes she probably couldn't beat the woman I am today.
Right. Yeah.
So she's like, all right, let's bring some weapons into it. Her dad is coming, apparently.
Oh wow, daddy!
Big mistake. Huge
I'm a little nervous for you for that fight.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm nervous for her dad in the crowd, honestly.
Yeah, well, I'm a little nervous.
Why?
I just don't think you're gonna come out with the belt in a Tijuana street fight you know nothing about.
This guy.
How dare you?
I mean,
put him in.
I did not approve that question.
She's turned friends into foes. You got Toni Storm lurking around. You have Thunder Rosa in a Tijuana street fight.
Yes.
Clearly, she has the advantage when it comes to that aspect.
She needs it. She's got a daddy ringside, and she's like, okay, well, let's make a Thunder Rosa match. We'll have like a Mexican street fight. We'll call it a Tijuana. Great. Have every single advantage that you need, because
she's going to be roadkill.
It's going to be.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't even need to cut the promo.
We're not even going to acknowledge that. Here's what I see.
No, but you're right. No, Thunder, she's a former world champion. She does excel in these kind of matches, but, it's probably because she's not good at wrestling and she's better at using weapons. And that's fine. Like I said, name the time, name the place. I want competition. I've asked for every single woman in that division. I've asked for women from Mexico, from Japan, because I want competition. I hope you beat me, because that means I was pushed to my absolute limits. That's what I'm looking for. Ever since I defeated Toni Storm, I've been looking for that challenge. I'd hoped it was Mina. We wrestled in the main event of Dynamite. Winter is coming. Mm-hmm. She couldn't do it. I want that competition. Maybe Thunder will be it. And in this match with her dad ringside, I'm sure she's going to bring me a tough fight. I know it's going to take a lot to kill her, but guess what? I killed Toni Storm. I beat Willow. I beat Mina. I beat Yuka. I beat Anna Jay 3 times.
On fire.
Beat her like a drum.
You mentioned Mercedes Mone. You said you grew up watching her. What are some of the other influences? And what age did you start watching wrestling at?
So I actually started watching wrestling when I was a kid. For me, it was like Mickie James, Trish Stratus. And actually, you could probably see a few parallels with me and Mickey's kind of debuts. And then I kind of grew out of it a little bit, kind of fell out of it, and I got back into it maybe when I was like 18, 19, and it's kind of when there was a bit of a resurgence with women's wrestling and they were being given more time, and it was people like Mercedes, and there's a ton of other formidable women that were on TV, and I was kind of watching those matches, and then I got into Stardom and Japanese wrestling, and those women are just killer.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of why I was just fascinated, and I really wanted to do it myself, and found a school, and now I'm world champion.
So what are the differences between wrestling in America and UK
or Japan?
There's a ton. So I think the UK and America are more similar just based on the crowd. So like our crowd's chant and it's a little bit more rowdy and stuff. In ring wise, it's pretty similar. I mean, there's British wrestling styles, which is kind of that technical wrestling that you might see. Japanese wrestling is very different. The kind of stories you tell in the ring, it's more about heart and how much you can take. Yeah. Whereas in America, it's more like good guy, bad guy, kind of villainous story, I think. And And the crowds in Japan are a little different. It's more kind of clapping, and they're kind of
Respectful.
Yeah, they're
just like, whereas in
respectful,
America, they're
You
like,
could say
show
it.
us your puppies.
Oh, God.
I'll kill you.
So for all the American guys that love you, are you planning on staying in the U.S.?
Yes, I am.
You
Yes.
are?
Yeah, I'm the AEW Women's World Champion. Where am I going to go?
Good to know. And I mean, obviously,
Wherever you want.
right.
She goes where she wants.
I'm sure you have a lot of fans on both sides of the ocean. What's your craziest fan experience, if you've had one?
Honestly, there's not one specific one. I've had a couple of weird ones. I think, honestly, the weirdest stuff is just the stalking. So I'm
Yeah.
super appreciative of fans, and like we wouldn't be here without
Jay.
them.
Right.
I love It's in the room with us. But we wouldn't be there without fans, and
Right.
I love doing the conventions and meeting them, and if they're outside the arena, and that's all cool. But for me, it's just like when it's kind of at the airport or at the hotel. Like if
Yeah.
I'm getting to the hotel at 11:30 at night, and you're walking into the hotel with me, I've had people walk to the elevators with me and stuff, and it's
Yeah.
just.
God.
With the greatest of respects, like this is my little safe space. I want to
Right.
shower here, eat, sleep. Like this isn't the time, I think.
Right.
Outside the arena, cool. Or if we bump into each other, wherever I meet fans in like the cinema, like
Right.
Right.
tons of different places. I would never say no to a picture. So if you ever see me, please say hi. I don't bite. But yeah, I think it's just when it kind of crosses a personal boundary, I think is maybe where wrestlers are like, okay, please. Like,
Yeah,
this
that's
is-
enough.
Yeah, that's the only thing I found that I haven't liked with it.
At the
So
airports
no one's
and
jumped in
hotels.
front of your car, anything crazy like that?
I don't
yet?
have a car, so no.
You don't have a car. Okay.
No, I passed my driver's test. I missed about 5 tests just because of work.
Oh.
And they're pretty hard to get a test. It's like once a month they have a slot. And I finally got this test, and I was so nervous because I'm like, oh my God, do I even know how to drive in America?
We're on the right side of the road here.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. The tests in this country are just like a little go-kart thing. Like you
Yeah.
drive into a space, you drive around a corner, and they're like, okay, you passed. And I'm like, what? You're giving out licenses like
Now
that?
you know why there's so many bad drivers here.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
So
I'm
bad.
scared.
We need
That's
the
great.
robots to take over already.
Yeah, now I'm just trying to choose a car suitable for the glamour.
I could see you in
Yeah.
a Tesla.
I'm not a big electric car girl. Like it's a smooth drive, it's very powerful, but I just
What
don't.
would be the
They're just a little
style?
too confusing for me too. The Tesla, you need something.
What are you looking at?
What do you like? What,
Could you
yeah.
guess? Bear in mind, I
I
don't want to
mean,
get like my dream car
a
because I'm
Bentley.
pretty
Like a
sure.
Maserati or
Yeah,
something.
someone is going
Bentley.
to crash into me, or I'm
Yeah.
going to crash into them.
Mini
Yeah.
Cooper?
No, but that was my first car in the UK. That was my first car.
Wow.
Good guess.
Yeah, that was a really strong
don't know,
guess.
just-
Okay, I'm looking at a Jeep. I'm thinking about a
Oh,
white
wow.
Jeep.
I didn't know if you were
Oh,
going to
I
I had
Jaguar.
3 Jeeps in a
Wrangler.
row. They were amazing.
Oh.
Yeah.
You like, so it's really like love or hate. When I'm like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna get like a Jeep Wrangler to start. Everyone's like, no, like they're so bad. Or people are like, oh my God, I love them.
Yeah.
I've had
You'll
them."
have fun.
And
being
you'll
in
go
Florida.
you'll become a Jeep person. You'll start getting the stupid ducks and all that stuff.
Okay,
Sahara than the
so yeah,
Rubicon.
my agent's already got me a duck.
Yeah.
He's like, I got it
I
ready.
could totally see you in a Jeep Wrangler. That would be
And now I think
It
my
would be.
friends are
We'll
like
be like-
competing to get the ducks.
We interviewed Samoa Joe. Thank you very much, AEW, for that last year. And I asked him what the locker room was like, and he said it was total chaos.
What?
How would you
Last year.
describe the AEW locker room?
I mean, so we're not in the same locker room, obviously. But you know,
Joe,
the girls' locker room is very cool. I think, like, if we have someone's birthday, like, it's Harley Cameron. She'll go out and she'll buy like balloons and what are they called, banners and cake.
nice.
You know, she's very sweet. She'll always kind of lead that charge. And I think there was one time we had like 4 birthdays in a row, so every week there was just cake, like
Oh,
different.
wow.
And I'm like, guys, we gotta stop.
Can't do it
We're
everywhere.
out there in a 2-piece in like 2 hours, and you're having us eating cake. But you know, it's a really cool group of women, and it's very international. We got girls from Japan,
Yeah.
UK,
Mhm.
Australia, America, Canada. It's like a lot of different people from different walks of life, but you know, we always work together, and it is crazy. Wrestling is crazy, entertainment is
Right.
crazy, live television is crazy. So we're kind of all in it together, just like trying to figure it out and how can we make the best of it. And everyone's super supportive.
awesome.
So yeah,
okay.
it's cool.
So Niko briefly spoke about your age and being in the top 30. Where, when it's said and done, where do you see yourself amongst the greats?
I think what I did to Toni Storm and being the world champion, I'm kind of shooting there, but I'm not there yet. And that's kind of what I meant when I said I want to cement my legacy. You know, we do have another women's belt. We have the
Right.
TBS title.
Right.
AEW is in its infancy. We don't know what we could have in a few years. I have already won the Owen Hart tournament, so for me, it's just looking to not only have accolades, because accolades are one thing, but it's about making people remember you. Like, you're always going to remember me putting a shoe into Toni Storm's head.
Right.
You're always going to remember me winning the world title at Wembley, but it's like, what moments and memories can we create on these pay-per-views, on these, when we get given the main event of Dynamite or Battle of the Belts or Collision? How can we make these things that people are going to remember? Like, that girl's street fight was amazing, or these different things where people remember that moment, and like, when you think of me, you have these memories in your head. So I think that's what makes someone truly great. It's not necessarily like, I've won this many titles or whatever. It's that feeling that you gave a fan when you did a certain thing. So it's just about making those moments.
It really is. And with Tony Khan, he's so good at allowing you to do things like Forbidden Door. So I go to see you go over to Japan again.
Yes.
And to see others come in and everything else. You've got so many opportunities coming up. So I think you're in the right place, obviously, with AEW, where they have this whole open relationship with like New Japan. They can do things over in England,
I mean,
wherever.
Tony Khan is really a great boss. And it's also the flexibility of the schedule. And I mean, we touched on it earlier, but if there ever is, if I did want to do a TV show or a film or anything like that, he will allow you to do those things. And he wants you. And we have such a stacked division that, I mean, like, if I went, it would be a great loss. But it's like, okay, let's give another girl a chance to make a name for herself so I can come back to something. So I think that is the exciting part about AEW, is they want the best for you, and they want you to kind of, we're all fans too, and we love, wrestling, and CMLL is amazing. Stardom, we work with so many different places. And for me, Stardom was my family for a year. That's my home. So anytime any of those girls come over, I'm like, damn, I want to get my hands on them and get in the ring with them again. And I think that's why Tony Khan's so great and AEW is so great, because they let you do that. And in turn, I think everyone wins. If you think about myself and Mina and Tony, that kind of just happened because I happened to tag with Mina, and we had the Stardom show, and it all kind of fell into place. And they wrestled at Forbidden Door, and I think that storyline was another one that people kind of loved, and it was great for the women's division. And then Mina kind of came back for me, and we had that story too. So I think, and I don't think any of those stories are finished either. So I think that's why AEW is so different, and why I love working here, is because anything can happen, which I think is exciting.
Right.
We're the best wrestle.
And you don't get burned out. And you don't think about jumping from promotion to promotion. If Tony lets you do a little bit of taste in Japan, a little bit here and there. I just think it's a great setup for you to keep things going.
And I think for them too, because I know for Mina, and this is why I gave her the match, she's like, she always wanted to wrestle on American television. And so for her, when she said, I get to main event Dynamite, I could see how much that meant to her. So I think for them too, to be able to come onto American TV, which, I mean, I'm foreign, so it's still so cool to me, but that's a huge deal. And that's something that they might think they'll never do in their lives. Their goal is within Stardom and getting to do, the Tokyo Dome,
and
or,
she get to share it with you?
Korakuen Hall. Yeah, I mean, that's amazing too,
special,
but they don't think, I'm going to go to America ever, let alone I'm going to go to America, I'm going to be on one of the biggest promotions and be on TV and be in the main event. And we're best friends. That's a bonus, but so many people are benefiting from this. So it's really
she's
cool.
lucky to get her ass kicked by you on Dynamite. I mean, I want to thank you so much. You've given us over 30 minutes.
I love to give.
Last question. I have hundreds of thousands of followers on social media, and they always ask me the same question over and over again. How do I become a pro wrestler? What would you say to someone who is aspiring to become the next Mariah May?
Just beat your friends up.
Have a shoe nearby. I mean, look, there's never going to be a next Mariah May, but I think the important thing is to find your own strengths. And so even for me, when I started training, there weren't even any wrestling schools. So I was like, okay, I'm going to build a brand on social media, build up followers on social media, found a school, documented my training. Like I did YouTube vlogs, I posted videos on Instagram. And people, before I even had my debut, I had I think 50,000 followers waiting.
Wow.
Because they were following this chick from the UK that's becoming a wrestler. So I think definitely try and find your own lane and your own platform. Social media is a demon, but it's also amazing, and it's a great opportunity to kind of get yourself popular and get
market.
That's where you're going to get opportunities, all on social media. So my biggest advice is, you have to put the work in, go to training, be consistent with all of that. But I'm sure you hear that all the time, but it's find what makes you unique and sell that, and use social media and use the tools that you have. You don't have to be on TV straight away. It took me 5 years to get to TV, and that's short in the grand scheme of things. But for me, I was like, I'm ready. I just had to keep working at what I could and use the resources I have, and social media is huge.
You you're a trifecta when it comes to wrestling, modeling, actress. If you had to keep two and drop one, which one would it be?
Modeling, easily, happily.
Yeah.
Yes. I kind of fell into modeling before I wrestled, and I just remember, like, I'm very much like, we should try everything in
Yeah.
our lives. Anything that's put on your plate, like, just give it a go. Like,
Yeah.
Ring announcing, I'm like, okay, I'll try this and learn something, and you can pick up skills. But yeah, every time I modeled, I was just hungry and bored, and like, I don't know. I just wanted to do more. I think now I probably have more fun with it because I'm, older and I know myself more.
Yeah.
But when I was 18, I was just like, I just want a sandwich. Go home, watch wrestling.
Awesome. Mariah May, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you have several more interviews today. AEW Worlds End, December 28th, Mariah May, Tijuana street fight against Thunder Rosa. Contrary to what Jedi J believes, she's going to get the W. She's going to go to AEW All In. In my opinion, you're going to be facing Mercedes Mone, title versus title, winner take all at AEW All In. That's what I want to see with you leaving with both belts in your hometown. How does that sound?
Sounds pretty good to me. I just know I'm going to be there. I don't know who it will be against, but you can't have a big show without the glamour.
Oh, you'll definitely be there. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day. See you later.